Okay, thank you for the introduction. My name is Shintaro Yamamoto, and I'm a PhD student at Waseda University, Japan. And I did this work while I was visiting University of Mannheim. Okay, I will begin my presentation. In scientific publications, figures are used to combine many kinds of information, such as data visualization, experimental design, or experimental results. It is known that humans can better remember and recall visual information. Recently, a novel concept of graphical abstract is introduced. According to the guideline of Elsevier, graphical abstract is a single, concise, pictorial, and visual summary of the main findings of the article. So we can understand research without reading a text, and graphical abstract can be used to provide multimodal online search results. Okay, I will explain the related work. Yang et al. Studied the problem of central figure identification. A central figure is a figure in a paper which can be used as a graphical abstract. Yang et al. Asked the authors of papers on PubMed to identify the central figure of their own publications. And the response identified that about 87% of the papers are considered to contain a central figure. And they also propose a method for automatic identification of central figure based on supervised machine learning approach. Now I explain the limitations of work of Yang et al. They only focused on papers on PubMed, which mainly consists of life science or biomedical domains. However, Lee et al. Found that use of figure is quite different according to the field and topic of study. So central figure identification in different domain might be quite different. Another limitation is requirement of annotated data. Supervised machine learning algorithm requires large amount of labeled data. However, annotation on scientific literature requires the domain knowledge. So it is difficult to find the good annotators for scientific publications. In this work, we collect annotations for central figure identification in computer science papers. This novel dataset enables to study the problem in a different domain, and we can also compare results across the different fields of study. We also propose a self-supervised learning approach that does not rely on any labeled data. Our approach only requires the collection of scientific publications for the training, so we can apply the method for any fields of study. Now I explain the annotation study. We collected papers published between 2017 and 2019 in the fields of natural language processing, computer vision, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We only consider papers with more than 5 figures because the papers with limited figures are easy to identify central figure. We asked two annotators with a university degree in computer science. We asked them to rank the top 3 figures extracted from the paper according to the degree to which they match the abstract. Here is the statistics of the annotated data. We annotated about 600 papers and 500 papers are annotated by both annotators, and about 100 papers are annotated by single annotators. Now I explain the problem which we studied in this paper. We consider problem as ranking figures extracted from a paper based on their suitability as a central figure for the publication. We run a scoring function that predicts the appropriateness as a central figure from figure caption X and the paper abstract Y. So I explain the detail of the function. We build the model that predicts the score regarding the correspondence between paragraph and figure caption. We employ a pre-trained BAT model as base model. In the experiment, we use SciBAT model, which is pre-trained on scientific publications. During the model training, we consider the paragraph which mentions figure, and in the test phase, we consider the abstract of the paper as input. Now I explain about training data. Now we construct pairs consisting of figures and paragraphs which mention figures. So for example, this paragraph mentions figure 1 and this one mentions figure n. For positive pair, we consider paragraph which mentions the correct figure. So for this paragraph, the figure 1 is paired as a positive pair. And for negative pair, we consider paragraph which mentions different figure. So for example, this paragraph mentions figure 1 and figure n is paired with this paragraph. In the training, we sample one sentence in the paragraph for both positive and negative pairs. We optimize triplet loss so that the dissimilarity score for a positive pair is lower than that for negative pair. At the test time, the abstract is divided into sentences due to the limit of sequence length in BAT. So we consider the sum of scores of each sentence is used for ranking. Now I move to the experiment. We experimented on PubMed dataset proposed by Yang et al. And our proposed dataset. For PubMed dataset, we use top N accuracy because this dataset only contains rank 1 figure. On the other hand, for the proposed dataset, we use MRR, MRN, and NDCG as evaluation metrics. As a baseline, we first use random baseline, which ranks figures randomly. We also compare with pick first baseline. In this baseline, figures are ranked according to the order. So for example, figure 1 is ranked as first and figure 2 is second. Here is a summary of performance. And amongst the base model, Cybert model, which is pre-trained on scientific publication, is the best. And the Cybert model also outperforms the previous method and baseline model in rank 1 accuracy. For the computer science dataset, Cybert model also outperforms the other base model and random baseline. However, pick-first baseline is stronger in this dataset. So we can infer that the papers used in experiments tend to show the overview of paper at the beginning of papers. We also evaluate the training data. So we train model with either PubMed or computer science papers and evaluate them on both domains. We found that training on a different domain results in slightly lower performance. For example, in the test on PubMed papers, training with PubMed papers shows a little better performance. We also compare the training with some domain of computer science papers. So I mean that we train model with NLP, CV, AI, and ML papers and evaluate them on the all subdomains. We find that training on different data does not affect performance. So for example, on the test on NLP papers, the training data does not change the performance. We also found that the test on machine learning papers shows the lower performance. And we checked the papers in machine learning domain and found that some papers contain very similar figures. So it is difficult to identify the visual summary of some machine learning papers, even with manual effort. We also visualize the attention pattern in BERT model. We observed that some attention heads attend to the same or semantically similar tokens. For example, the word tracking attend to the same word tracking, or restore attends to the similar token recovery. Okay, let me conclude my presentation. In this work, we studied the problem of automatic identification of a visual summary for a scientific paper. We proposed a novel dataset of computer science papers for this problem. And we also proposed a self-supervised learning approach, which does not require any annotated data, and we can apply the method only with the collection of scientific papers. As a future work, we will first analyze the novel dataset, especially pick first baseline, because this baseline is stronger in computer science papers. We will also plan to train the model on larger corpus because our approach does not require annotation, so it is easy to increase the number of training samples. Okay, thank you for your attention.
Thank you for the talk. Great, perfect in time.